It was billed as the game of the season, or at least of the early season, and the Buffalo Bills made sure it was, well, that, at least for Bills fans, a 48-20 impressive, incredibly impressive showing at home in this one. Joe Marino from Locked On Bills joins me now. And Joe, I know that 48 points and all the fantasy points that this Bills offense put up is going to be the headline for a lot of people. For me, after the Dolphins hang 70 on Denver, holding this Miami offense to 20 points feels like the story moving forward for this team. How did they do it?
Yeah, I think the defense obviously deserves a lot of recognition for what they did in this game. Held the Dolphins, like you mentioned, at 20 points, only 6 in the second half. I mean, they scored touchdowns on their first 2 drives of the game, and you kind of thought this was going to be a blow-for-blow type contest, but the Bills' defense tightened the screws. They were able to sack Tua 4 times after he was only sacked once in the previous 3 games. And I think what it really came down to was a coordinated effort by Sean McDermott to marry the coverage with the rush, get Tua off of that first read, and force him to process deeper into snaps. And when that happens, there could be some volatility on Tua's side of things. So I think it was a good scheme coverage-wise, a good plan to rush 4, but still find ways to overload sides and free up some good one-on-ones. And certainly had the right plan. They held Waddle and Hill in check and came out of there with a 4-touchdown win.
Is this replicable? I don't even want to say the word blueprint, but is this replicable, do you think, from the Bills' standpoint?
I think there's some critical factors to be mindful of, and that's continuity for the Buffalo Bills defense, where you look at this back 7, Matt Milano, Taron Johnson, Trey White, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer. Jordan Poyer didn't play in this game, but all those guys have been playing football together since 2017. And when you have that much time on task in the same system, your ability to communicate and understand what offenses are trying to do to you and play off of each other is really good. And so I think you're seeing the benefits of continuity. Guys that have been, had a lot of time on task together, against Miami. They played Miami 3 times last year. And so this is a pretty, obviously a common opponent, and kind of trust your inventory of time together compared to, Mike McDaniel offense. It's outstanding, but it's still only a season and a quarter into it. I think some of the continuity played out for the Bills.
All right, we can't take any more time and not talk about what happened on this offense. Stephon Diggs, 6 catches for $120, and not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns. Josh Allen also terrific in this game, sort of re-cementing himself in that upper echelon after a bit of a wonky start. Not that for me or probably for you, he ever fell out of that upper tier. But what clicked for this Bills offense, probably starting last week and carried over into this week?
Well, it's almost like week 1 was exactly what Josh Allen needed, was a little humble pie. He tried to do way too much against the Jets, and he's really responded wonderfully over the last 3 weeks. And obviously, I think this being the icing on the cake, 21 of 25, 320, 5 total touchdowns. He has a perfect passer rating of 158.3. I think he did a really good job of blending being aggressive and doing the dynamic things that Josh Allen does, but also playing smart, winning football and knowing when to eat the play and just play the next one. And I think he's done a good job of that over the last 3 weeks. And certainly that peaked against Miami. And, it was kind of interesting to see how he was going to look against Vic Fangio. Josh has had a great run against Miami throughout his career, but that was the Brian Flores, Josh Boyer, man coverage, blitz type defense. Fangio's the opposite of that. And so I was kind of curious to see what type of levers he had ready to pull against Josh Allen, and it looks like more of the same. Probably the best performance Josh has had against Miami. And so playing smart football, Ken Dorsey's in his bag right now as an offensive coordinator, really good protection schemes. And, Josh is running the offense, and that was what he didn't do in week 1, and he's certainly done that since.
If you put the opponent's scoring of the last 3 games together, it's 33 points against the Bills. Every single of those 3 games, they've scored more than 33. So any one of those single performances, they would have beat the 3 combined total. All of that is a way of asking right now, Joe, should the Bills be the favorite in the AFC?
Well, nobody wins a division in week 4. Nobody wins a conference in week 4. But I think what it's been has been a nice reminder, I think, to the football community that the Bills are still here. I think coming out of that 27-10 playoff loss to the Bengals into, the disaster that was Monday Night Football, blowing a 10-point lead after you knock Aaron Rodgers out of the game and Josh Allen turns the ball over 4 times, just people started to question what this team was. And it's almost like the best thing that could have happened for them. They were able to settle in, just take it 1 week at a time, 1 play at a time. And, they're still in it. They're still one of the best teams in the league. And, they still have a lot to prove, right? They haven't won anything yet. They've been to the AFC Championship game. They've won playoff games, but the legacy component of what this run of Bills football is going to be needs to be defined by a Super Bowl championship at some point. I guess the encouraging thing is you feel like the Bills still have the stuff to do it.